Okay, hello. This is Jeff Kinney, and this is the Syllabus and Information lecture video meant to introduce you to CS151 in the summer of 2017, just looking at the syllabus and what you're supposed to be doing. Each time I give a video, I will normally give just a brief piece of information about what the goals are. So I'm going to keep a lot of the information about this class in this Google document that will update as the semester goes on. First we'll look at this information that doesn't change, and then we'll look at the information that will change. Okay, so first we're going to look at the table of contents of this document. Notes will change as we go. Every day, whenever there's something new, I'll put something in the notes. So now I'm just going to go over the information that does not really change. This is just an introduction to the course. We can do this real quickly. Okay, so I am your instructor. If you want to know something about me, you can search for Jeff Kinney, spelled correctly, and read about me. I am in Root Hall, so if you happen to be in Terre Haute, I'll normally be around during the summer, maybe 60 or 70% of the days. The most reliable way to get in touch with me is by email. I'll normally see a message from you within, say, 2 hours, and I'll normally reply within, say, a day. All the material for this is online. A regular course would have 4.5 hours per week of lecture. We'll probably have half of that of videos and then another half of interaction that we'll talk about. We'll have exams. You can read that on your own. Office hours, I can have real office hours on campus if anybody desires it, but then we'll also have virtual office hours at some time to be determined based on what people want. We have a lab here that can be open if there's anybody that's going to be here to use it. If you think you would want to be here to use our machines here, you can let me know. This information is in this document, and now I'll give you a couple different ways to find this document. So if you can remember my name, there's a link at the bottom of my main page here to this document. That's one way to find this document. So remember my name. Or if you remember to log into Blackboard, which is the online course management system that ISU uses, and you go to this course, there's a link on the left-hand side, Syllabus and Information. Okay, no prerequisites. This is the, I'll say here, role of this course. It's the first course in the CS major, required of IT majors, and required of a few other majors. And oftentimes the one CS course people take if they're interested in CS a little. Okay, we will not use a textbook. Here are some links to information. A lot of the information that you need will simply be in these videos, and as we get started into the real content of the course, I'll point you to various ones of online information that you can use to read on your own to supplement the lecture videos. I'll be sending information to your ISU email address. If you are not going to be checking your ISU email address, you need to set it up to forward. You're taking this class, I hope you can search on ISU's webpage to figure out how to forward your email if you're not going to be checking it. You simply must be able to check this email, because I will send messages like there's a quiz today or there's a quiz tomorrow. This classroom conduct doesn't apply. We're an online class. The official description of this class has not been updated in quite a while. This is sort of loosely accurate. Really, this course is meant to be an introduction to programming and an introduction. The course really is an introduction to programming and an introduction to the way many of the ISU CS courses are run, i.e. Unix and programming. The programming language that we have chosen to use, HTML, CSS, JavaScript as our intro language for this course only. Why? It is visual and it is useful. Useful in the sense of you may be able to get a job simply by knowing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Probably you need a little bit more than that, but this is information for this course will be useful right away, depending on what you're going to do. There's a course outline. The most important thing that you are interested in is where we start. We're going to start with using Unix, files, and what are files. And we'll go through HTML, JavaScript, and more JavaScript. By the end of the class, course goals, by the end of the class, you should be able to do any kind of basic web page layout, design, and also any kind of basic program examples. Anything that you can think of that anything that I can think of that will take a very simple web page. So a web page to do tic-tac-toe is a classic example. A calculator, collect information from a user and check it. For example, check to make sure something's an email address. Factor numbers, so things with numbers, maybe sort numbers, maybe some more interesting things like a simple space adventure game. Okay, so by the end of the class, the hope is that you should be able to do that in terms of web programming and also familiar and can use Unix. So most people have not used Unix. Some people have used Mac. So by the end of the class, you should be pretty familiar with this. And also some basic CS concepts, which are listed in the outline here. And where does this outline come from? I'll mention there's a link here. Steve Baker is the one who normally teaches this. I've simply taken his outline to make sure that I cover the same type of material that he covers, and also his outline is indirectly coming from the standards from the Professional Computer Science Organization, the ACM. The ACM has a nasty, huge spreadsheet of 1,000 or so individual topics that are supposed to be covered in a CS degree, and we reviewed that and put a lot of those into this class as the first place you would see them. So the things that we're doing are the same things that are done in CS programs all over the place. So that was in our course outline. That's the plan. Now, what are you supposed to do? And we'll look at a few things in particular. In the final grade calculation, there will be a project, probably, depending on if there's time. There will be homeworks and quizzes that will be worth some amount. There will be exams and class participation. We won't really worry about that formula until we get some of that information in there. You should go and read the CS course policies. There are policies. I will point out a few items. Cheating and plagiarism in collaboration. In general, now this is a little bit different because we're an online class, but in general, on homework assignments, you can talk to each other. And in fact, I'll require you to do some amount of talking to each other using online discussion. But you should never have somebody else do your work. You should never do copy from anybody. A good rule of thumb is a few of these. So if you copy electronically in any way, then there could be an issue, so don't do it. So don't save somebody else's file into your account, or don't copy paste something from the internet where you asked somebody for the answer. If you talk to somebody and they explain to you the right answer and you type something in and it's correct, but then later on you cannot reproduce it, that means it's not yours. Other things that people do, trying to find the exact code. So if I give you, let's say I give you a assignment that is do gobbledygook, the gobbledygook program, however you spell that. So if you go and search online for the gobbledygook program in JavaScript and find something that's against the policies, don't search online for the exact problem that is assigned. Probably it won't be there because I'll give you an assignment that is new. Also note that it is still cheating if you allow someone else to copy your work. So you should be trying to protect your work from others. Exams we'll deal with later. You can read the rest of this on your own, and we can talk about later how this applies to this online class. Late assignments. So all homework assignments, so these are regular homework assignments, we'll be giving a due date, and then we'll discuss those due dates later, but I'm suggesting that we do 50% credit for late work, so that's supposed to be enough that you will still do late work, but low enough that you will really prefer to get it done on time. Start homeworks early, you can read that on your own. You should expect to spend a lot of time on your own, at least as much time as you spend watching videos. There will be grades. I'll try to make it so that the normal numbers correspond to the letter grades, but I will give you the right letter grades, and I'll give you an estimate once we get a few weeks in. Blackboard we'll use for doing a few things. Most of the information about the class will be in this document. Academic integrity, I already started talking about that because that was in the course policies. Our standard policy is that for undergraduates, the first time you have an issue, it's at a minimum a 0 on the assignment. Could be worse depending on the offense. The second time, it's at a minimum an F in the class. Could be worse depending on the offense. If you have any academic learning disabilities or anything else where you have something set up with Student Academic Services, then let me know. If you have something that you think should be set up, let me know and I can put you in touch with the right people. There's a required statement on sexual misconduct, so you should read that. Okay, that is the syllabus. Now would be a reasonable time to pause and review that information as needed. Okay, so we went over for this lecture is going to be called Syllabus and Information, and I'll put a link here. It's going to be kept at this link. There's video lectures, so there's a YouTube playlist, and I'll add videos here. I think the most recent will normally be on the top. Okay, and for each one I will put sort of just a brief description of what's going to be in there. Okay, so the technical first day of class, we'll call it as May 23rd, Tuesday, because I was late getting everything ready. And so we'll go through your responsibilities. First of all, you watch the lectures. You're doing that right now, hopefully. For each lecture, I'll have two things. One is I'll have a short quiz where I'll go ahead and take a look at what this looks like here. So if you're in Blackboard, there's quizzes and there's a lecture short quiz. You'll click on it and notice that there was listed there the due date is 5:25 by 1 a.m. That'll be about 48 hours after the video is posted. So you have 2 days from when it's posted to watch. And the purpose of the short quiz is just to make sure that you watched it. So there will be 2 questions. The second question is, did you finish watching? And please be truthful, you answer yes or no. So if you watched half of it, you say no. At some point in the quiz, I will say, at some point in the video, I will say an answer. And so there will be some sort of cryptic question 1 that won't make any sense until somewhere in the middle I say, listen up. The answer to the quiz question is Eliza. A very reliable therapist is Eliza, and that won't mean anything to you, but you can search up, just as interesting reading, the Eliza therapist. Okay, and you can read about that. It's some interesting CS lore. Okay, so you would type Eliza here, and then you would save your answers if you want. Okay, saved. You can save and submit. Fine. And there it is. Now if you watch the video again and you discover that you actually put the wrong answer in, you should be able to go back in and do the lecture short quiz again. And it'll just count the latest one that you did. And it's not going to tell you whether you had the right answer or not, because if you did, then that would sort of defeat the purpose. Okay, so for the first lecture quiz, you want to put Eliza, just like I did. Alright, so every time there's a lecture, there will be a lecture short quiz. There will be a lab exercise, and those will show up under the lab assignments link here. So Lab 01 is the first one, and this says to send me a message, and in the okay, I'll keep going. So depending on your email program, you'll put that into the subject and then say something interesting. I don't care if it's interesting about you or about something else. So for example, something that's interesting is what is the closest star to the Earth? The answer is the Sun. The next closest star is Proxima Centauri. Alright, in the second, in the body of the information, say what the due date and time of the first lecture short quiz is. Now that is listed right here. So 5:25 by 1 a.m. Alright, that's your first lab assignment. And in general, the lab assignments will be more interesting than that, but I'll already give you some points for watching this video to make sure that hopefully you do. Alright, every time you watch a lecture, you'll have a short quiz and a lab exercise. There will be a weekly discussion. I'll give you points for that as well. The purpose there is for you to ask questions, and some of the questions will get answered by other students. There's a weekly discussions, and in week 1, we're doing Unix files, editing, etc. And you will either ask a question or answer somebody else's. So this is Jeff here. I don't know, do you have any questions after watching the first video? Go ahead. And I guess I would have to reply to that if you do have any. So you can reply to my question or you reply to the original thread. And the rule there will be I want to see at least 3 items per week. So you'll ask 3 questions or answer 3 questions or something, and I'll just have, there's somewhere in Blackboard where it'll give me the number of times that you participated in this thread. Okay, weekly live talk. So that will be, we'll go through by email how that's going to work, but there's a UJA. Let's see, in the Blackboard, I think you'll see a tools on the left, and it'll look a little bit different than you because you're a student, but if you go to UJA, we'll launch it, and it may ask you to install something. I may have already installed something here. And we will do, I believe we will do a video classroom, but I'll confirm that later on. Alright, so we'll do, you'll be required to do one of those per week, and for now I have 3 options that I think will work for everybody. We'll try this for the first week and see. So the first one will be Wednesday at 8 to 8:30 p.m. I'm putting a half hour here, so if you get in sometime in that half hour, I'll be at my computer for a half hour, and the point here is just log in and we can talk about things. You can ask questions. It's not a lecture, it's just for Q&A. So for the first time, people will come in, I'll note that you came in, and we'll just introduce ourselves maybe. They'll get more interesting as we actually do stuff. So you'll get points for that, and then there will be a quiz each week over the actual material. So these short quizzes are meant to just verify that you watched the video, to give you points for watching the video. That's like attendance, and then long quiz will be about the material. The lab assignments will be very basic, just basic questions, and there will be one assignment per week that is supposed to be more interesting. So an example here, would be design your own homepage. So I'm not going to ask you, so on the lab assignment, an example would be something like create a page with a table that is 2 rows and 3 columns, red background or something. So something very, just I tell you exactly what to do and you do it. And then the homework assignment would be hopefully more interesting. We'll have exams, maybe we'll have a project. Okay, timing of these tasks. Videos, you'll watch the videos when they appear. Every time there's a new video, there will be a new, there will be a new lecture short quiz, and there will be a new lab exercise. And those should show up, the lecture short quizzes anyway, will show up in the Blackboard. So if you set Blackboard the right way, you'll see these. But generally there will be weekdays. So most weekdays. You can just pick a time every day that you're going to check to see if there's any new videos on the YouTube playlist. You could also subscribe to the YouTube playlist, I believe, or you could subscribe to me and you'll get emails. So those are lecture short quizzes, videos, lab exercises. Those will all be 48 hours from when the lecture is released. Now the lab exercises, note, lab exercises may require some time for you to complete. Okay, so you don't want to wait until the 47th hour to watch the video, because then you won't have enough time to complete the lab exercise. Weekly long quizzes, I'm planning on making those available at the beginning of Monday, so 12:01 Eastern Time Monday, and then another, so you get 48 hours to complete. That'll be timed, and you only get to take it once, and then I'll release the results after the 48-hour window is done. So that'll be Mondays at 12:01, and of course I'll send emails when the first time for all this stuff. Weekly homework assignment, I'm thinking of releasing that at the end of the week, so the beginning of Saturday, 12:01 Eastern Time Saturday, and then do the middle of the next week, Wednesday, end of the day Wednesday. So then Thursday, Friday, you don't have anything really due. You can relax or something, just watch videos. play catch up. Okay, that is, I believe, everything I wanted to do. We're probably at a half hour, 40 minutes already, so that's plenty. Other thing is, if you are a CS major or interested in CS, you may want to look around at some of the things linked here. The undergraduate program, there's information. If you're an undergraduate major, there's advising information. You can watch a video that describes the information that's on this website. There is a frequently asked questions. There's a getting started, which you probably don't need because we're going to do that with our videos, but you'll look to see what's available there. I believe we've covered everything. This video will show up on the YouTube playlist, and you should go ahead and do the lecture short quiz for this video and also the lab exercise for this video.